Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll continue the topic on the pragmatic leadership. Last time we have discussed in the chapter number 1 about the importance of improving your competencies over a period of time, which is initially more focused on improving your domain skills, and then later on becoming a leader of a small group of people. Thereby you can increase your ability to contribute more to the organization. We have discussed that in page number 9, that the individual's contribution is limited to the extent of his own time and then the skill sets. But when he's taking the responsibility of leading a group, then he is in a position to contribute much more to the organization. So in the same page 9, I just want to focus on yet another concept which is most important, that is diagram number 1.5. In which I have spoken about the most important aspect of how do you develop your skills over a period of time. So since the diagram will be shown in the near future for you to refer once you buy the book, but I will try and explain what this diagram really means. So at the beginning of the career, every individual is focused on learning something about the domain skills in the sense that if somebody has finished his education and then he is trying to join, let's say, an accounts department. So being a fresh person from the academic institution, he may not have any idea about what this job is all about. So in the beginning, some kind of on-the-job training is given to that person, and then he learns some kind of domain knowledge, what probably we may call it, like for example, posting the account. So over a period of time, he starts learning that. We will call this as a domain skill, or probably we can call this as a technical skill. So all of us in our career have joined as a fresher and then we learned something about our job little bit. For example, I finished my engineering course on mechanical engineering, and then I commenced my job as a draftsman. So I need to learn what do you mean by an engineering drawing is all about, how do you represent a component in the form of a piece of paper, and so on and so forth. So over a period of time, as we want to grow in the organization, we keep on developing more and more of our technical skills. In the sense, I started learning, for example, how to design a bearing and how to design a shaft and so on and so forth. So whatever field that we have chosen, we keep on building our technical knowledge over a period of time. So this goes on up to a certain point in time, and we feel that more and more we increase our domain knowledge, we will grow. So in a way it is a fact, up to a certain point in time we grow, and beyond which maybe after 5 years or 10 years, then we start feeling that we are still not having any subordinates, or we are not leading a team of people, and so on and so forth. So many times you will find in many people's career, even at the age of 45, they still continue to be a loner. That means he continues to do his own job as a domain person, but he doesn't have any people to lead. So you may be wondering what is the reason that some people are not able to cross beyond the boundary of an individual and become responsible for a team of people. So this is very critical because there is one particular skill that people have not developed. It's a people management skill. People management skill is nothing but how do you really relate with the people, how do you really develop their competencies, how do you communicate your requirements to them so that they get enrolled and they want to work with you and then support you to discharge your responsibility. Unfortunately, the people management skill has never been taught in any academic institution or during our social upbringing. So, with the result, many people have got difficulty in managing the people because they are incapable of developing relationship and so on and so forth. So, going forward, we will discuss more in detail how one has to transition from the technical skills to people management skills. So, having said that, assuming some people are crossing the boundary and then they are getting a small team of people to manage. Just to give an example, when I was a designer, I was asked to manage 4 draftsmen, and then I became a product designer. Then I need to understand how to give work to them and how to ensure that they have done it correctly and so on and so forth. Keep them motivated and then make them to learn from you and so on and so forth. Once we have become a team leader, then after some time we start aspiring that should head a function. Maybe I wanted to become a head of the design department as a chief designer. Now, what is the requirement for the next level of skill that is required? That you move away from the team management to a functional management. So that is called the conceptual skills. So what do you mean by conceptual skills? Conceptual skill is nothing but visualizing something as a big picture and then trying to envision for that big picture and then try to contribute significantly for managing a function. For example, when I wanted to become a chief designer, obviously there were about 30 or 35 designers of different discipline and capabilities, and I will have to manage 10 different projects at the same time, which have got a different priority and different kind of complications and so on. Larger picture of understanding of the company and its business and its value stream, etc. That is what I call it as a big picture. So at some point in time, there was technology transfer taking place from producing drawings in a piece of paper to move on to the digital drawings and so on and so forth. So under these circumstances, for someone to lead a department, he requires what is called the conceptual skills. Conceptual means you are able to use your imagination and look at the future and create it. That is what actually is called the conceptual skills. Unfortunately, the people management skill and the conceptual skills have never been taught to us. First of all, we may not even know such a thing exists. So going forward, when the person becomes the top management in the sense that he becomes the CEO or the managing director, then obviously he has to visualize the future for the company for 3 to 5 years, and then he has to sharpen his imagination. With the result, he is in a position to aspire for something very big for the company and then guide people what kind of a strategic directions he has to take and involve them and then constantly review the progress, etc. That means the responsibility of a departmental manager to a managing director, the content of the conceptual skill is increasing significantly, because a departmental head need to just visualize how to run his department, but whereas a managing director has to visualize the future and create it. So it shows that starting from the technical skills, one transition into people management skill, and then move on to a conceptual skills. So many people are not even aware of what these skills are, and how to acquire them so that they are in a position to progressively develop those skills and move forward. So if at all somebody has just moved in his career, it is either by accident or by nature he has got some of these competencies, but they were not known and consciously acquired by the people. So my purpose of writing Pragmatic Leadership is to make people to be aware that these kind of skills are the requirements to grow in a career, and then also learn them by observation as well as by practice, so that the person is able to constantly grow in his career without any obstructions. So, having said that, there are three types of skills are there. Basically, technical skills, we can call this as a domain skill, and we have the people management skills, and then conceptual skills. That means at the lower level of management, if somebody joins as a graduate trainee, at the lowermost level, all that he needs is to focus on the technical skills. That means 90% of his future is going to be decided by the technical skills. If you look at the diagram in the book, it very clearly shows illustration basis that 90% to 95% are technical skills. When you become the middle management, then the technical skills requirements are coming down, the people management skills are increasing, and then small portion of conceptual skills are required for you to lead a department. But when you become the managing director of the company, then you hardly need any technical skills, in the sense that even if you don't have a technical skill, it doesn't matter, because there are people who are going to take care of those technical aspects of your company. But what is needed to a large extent is your conceptual skills, meaning that what is the future that you can create for the company. And then you need a people management skills, relatively lesser, because you are just managing some of your vice presidents or few people under you. So what it really means in summary is that if for anyone to grow in his organizational hierarchy, he has to be very clear that he has to transition from technical skills to people management skills to a conceptual skills at the right time. But if the person is not aware of it and he doesn't sharpen it, then he cannot blame anyone for being sidelined or probably don't get an adequate growth in their company. So having said that, how do we sharpen these skills is what actually is the scope of the book. I have clearly brought about what are those skills and how one can sharpen it over a period of time. One interesting observation I want you to note in this particular diagram is that many people think that they know more about their job in the technical area, they will be able to become the managing director of the company. So this was the misconception I also had, and I was becoming more and more competent in the product design and technology. But I could only become the chief technology officer, but I could not become the CEO of the company, for the very simple reason, when we are focusing on the technical skills beyond a point, then we are branded as expert. An expert can never become a leader. So if you are in a metallurgical department, you know everything about metallurgy, then they will make you as a chief metallurgist, but they may not make you as the CEO of the company. So this is one of the biggest mistakes many people do. They keep on sharpening their technical skills, but they have no idea what is people management skill is all about, and they have very little conceptual skills, and they become a highly pessimistic and negative person, making blocking statement all the time when you become a technical expert. That's one of the reasons many people don't grow, and you will be immensely benefited for your career progression, whether you are in employment or whether you are an entrepreneur. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure talking to you. God bless you. Take care.